Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker to the podium. You know, this is hard for me to introduce this man because, you know, he is the other beautiful man in the room. He is. And when I stand next to him, I feel all intimidated. And that's hard to do for me. But the reason why I love this guy is because he is quintessential Wisconsin, just through and through. And when you open up the pages, the opinion section of the Wall Street Journal, and you see an article that was penned by him, and you're like, dang, this is it. Why don't we do this? Then you understand you got something. He has integrity. He has ideas. He has, I think, the star power that not only puts our state on the map, but gives him a bright future in the muckety-muck we call Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Ryan. Come on, what? Come on up here. All right. All right.
Appreciate it, handsome man. Thanks, James. Tell you what, buddy, if you want some tips on some hair care, you know, let me know, all right? Just give me a call. Look, I want to be brief so we can get to the main attraction tonight. America is an idea, and it's the first idea of its kind, where a nation was founded on the premise on the individual, that we are given equal natural rights. The whole idea of America is to build society around the principles of liberty, freedom, self-determination, free enterprise. And my friends, I've got to tell you, we are in a very, very unique time right now. That idea is under assault. That idea is at risk. It's in jeopardy. We are reaching a point in this country, I call it a tipping point, whereby in a handful of years, we will have more people in this country living off of the government than paying into the government. And we have an ideology running this country in the White House and in Congress that believes that idea is wrong, that believes that that idea should be replaced. Instead of having a system in a country where our goal of government is to equalize people's access to opportunity, where we value liberty, freedom, self-determination, and free enterprise, they think the goal of government ought to be different. They look over to Western Europe and they say, we ought to be like them. We ought to have government in the business of equalizing the results of people's lives rather than equalizing our access to opportunity. And so when you see the ideas moving through the pike, I got to tell you, it's real. People tell me, you know, in Washington, well, gosh, all those town hall meetings and public opinion's really turning on them. Surely they're not going to pass this stuff. Are you serious? They are doubling down and they are trying to jam this stuff through. You know, the speech the president gave to Congress, I call it the Joe Wilson speech. But the speech he gave was very, very revealing, and he's given a few since then. He said basically, we went with FDR and then LBJ and now me. New Deal, Great Society, and whatever, I guess I'm not supposed to say but whatever this is. You see, what we are witnessing right now is an attempt to fulfill the third great wave of progressivism in America, the third and final wave of progressivism in America. And so the question is, what are we going to do about it? You know, Jim was right. It's palpable. The crowds, the enthusiasm, it's infectious. I did 17 town halls in August. It was incredible. Every one of them, we had to move them to high school gymnasiums and auditoriums. 1,022 people just at Greendale High School. It is something to behold. That has to stick. That has to stay. That has to be carried on into November, not just November 2010, but in November 2012. Because you see, what we must do is we must articulate and put together realignment elections, 2 elections in a row. That's tough to do. There is a point in this nation whereby we just can't keep taking all this government that keeps coming through. You know, when I put this big plan out there a year ago called the Roadmap for America, a plan to rewrite our entitlements and our tax system, turn this thing around, get our debt paid off, I told crowds, you know, we're 10 or 12 years away from becoming a social welfare state after which we can't retrieve from. You know what? I think it's about 5 or 6 years away because the left understands the stakes. They do have the courage of their convictions. They are running Washington, and they are putting the foot to the pedal, and they're hitting the accelerator, and they're trying to move us as fast to that point as possible. So when we see crowds turn out in August, when we see public opinion going the way it is, what does that do to the Democratic leaders in the Capitol and in the White House? It tells them, go faster. And so that's what's being done right now. They're trying to jam this health care through as fast as they can. And you know what? I still think we have a darn good chance of defeating this thing because we are a democracy. And so this is not your ordinary Republican dinner, and this is not going to be your ordinary Republican Lincoln Day dinner in February, because this is not an ordinary time. This is a very, very unique time. And this is that time where we're going to look back, and we're going to know whether or not this is that moment where progressivism had its third final wave to convert America into the list of all these other mediocre countries and become a social welfare state, where people change their sense of liberty for a sense of security, a sense of complacency and dependency, or is this the time where America stood up, took control of their government, got involved, put their passion into the polls, and got the American ideal back? That's what's going to be determined in Wisconsin and across the country. It's going to be determined here with more state senators, with better governors, with a new Congress, and then finally with a new president. And that enthusiasm that we have right now has got to stick. And I think it's going to, and that's why I'm so happy to be here. I've got 2 soccer games, a fall fest, and a wild game dinner that I'm the cook for tomorrow night. So, Chairman, forgive me if I don't hear your speech until tomorrow. But everybody, God bless, and let's get it done. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.